fishing news is brought to you by Okuma and the Reel Seat at 707 Union Avenue, Brielle. Gear up for fall stripers and blues from the beach to the rocks and everywhere in between.
With an Arctic blast hitting us this week, it makes working by the fire, or maybe working all together, a little less offensive. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, and it seems like winter has finally arrived. Well, we've waited for that for December anyway. But the fall run continues. There are still plenty of opportunities. In fact, as Nick Honachewski let us know this week, our intrepid field editor for the Beach Talk report, he says, quote, "What an incredible 2 weeks in the Jersey surf. Dozens of fun. Shorty stripers each day. Best outing with 69 stripers." That's what he let me know. As a matter of fact, early in the week, gave it a shot myself, southern end of LBI, where we did have some fish the night before. Friends had them the night before. We couldn't find them, but Central Jersey, Normandy, Seaside, Nick has been doing a number on the fish. He lets me know that his favorite right now are the tsunami sand eels. Definitely a good time to scale down in the surf. Teasers, flies. The folks at Fish Heads in Ship Bottom, Fisherman's headquarters, Greg says, don't forget about those old school red gills. And of course, as I said, the flies, the clousers. Jimmy Bonanno from Harry's Outdoors. He's been lighting them up the last couple of weeks. Just plenty of fish. He's fishing the northern stretch, staying away from some of the crowds. But he's been getting into the fly fishing as well. If you're looking for a good opportunity to get out and break out the 8-weight, get those clousers into the wash. Those fish are in the wash. And most of the best bite is right up close, right along the lip. So again, don't forget those teasers as well if you're hitting the surf line this week in between warming up by the fire. Now, Captain Dave DeGennaro out of Barnegat Inlet let me know that there's still some fish out inside the line. He's been putting mojos to work on some good-sized striped bass in the last couple of weeks. Folks are bundling up to fish out of Absecon. That's according to the folks in Riptide. Andy at Riptide and Brigantine said Greg Marr Charters has been heading out Absecon Inlet and still finding stripers on the troll as well. Again, mojos and the plugs too, those stretch plugs, the Bomber CDs, the Rapala X-Raps. Captain Mike Bracco, Cape Queen Charters out of Cape May County. He said last week he had up to 40 bass. He had plenty of fish up into the 40-pound range as well. Again, he was on the troll. And most of the reports that we got in the last week or two, 1 to 1.5, 2 miles out off the beach on the troll, right on out to the fence, that 3-mile line. That South Jersey bite that's off Cape May County, that has been off of Cape May County the last week or so, is even attracting some attention from the folks in Delaware. We're getting some reports from folks along the Delaware coast or making the run across the bay up along South Jersey for some of that action. We've heard that report from the folks at Lewis Harbor Marina in Lewis, Delaware, who said that Bob Fitzwater had a 43.5-pounder, and he's the guy who's currently in the lead right now for that month-long striper tournament out of Lewis Harbor Marina. Now, if you're wondering where some of those monster stripers are, it seems the folks down in Cape Charles, Virginia, are finding some of those big fish on the troll down there. In fact, Chris's Bait and Tackle has had quite a few big weigh-ins of late. The January edition of the Fisherman magazine will be going to print about another week. Great article in there from Eric Burnley on that Cape Charles, Virginia beach fishing, if you're looking to trailer. Although right now, I have had some reports from folks who are working offshore inside the 3-mile line who are finding some herring as well. In fact, some folks are finding that the stripers have been taking some of the metal lips and the yellow metal lips up on top. So those bass are definitely piling on herring. And if you still have your boat in the water, make sure you check some of those lumps. Some sand eels have been scoring some striped bass. Check some of your favorite old lumps in the past. They might be holding some sand eels and a good body of striped bass as well. Now, some of the party boats in the last week or two, we're starting to find folks are pulling out of the water, but plenty are still sailing and taking advantage of the sea bass and tog bite. The big Mohawk is still getting it done on the wreck sites with some pretty good tog numbers and some big fish as well. A lot of charter, a lot of party boats out there looking for tog right now. Also getting way out, gone way out for some cod. The big Jamaica just finished off a trip offshore all the way up off of Block Island. Did well with the cod. They're going to be making a few more trips this month in search of those cod offshore. So make sure you take advantage of what we've got right now. Sea bass, blackfish, some tog, also some boats I'm sure hooking up with some ling as well. But the sea bass, take advantage of that fishery through the end of this month. Of course, black sea bass season will close as of December 31st. This week, the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission, ASMFC, and the Mid-Atlantic Council in a hot and heavy debate as we're recording this down in Annapolis, Maryland. Although we will have a full update later on in the week. Make sure you check back to thefisherman.com. You folks that get the newsletter, of course, you'll get it on Monday. We've got an update on 2018 fluke measures, 2018 proposed black sea bass. There's also good news coming out of Congress this week. We'll have the full update posted at thefisherman.com. So definitely some better things in store for 2018 on fluke, which is good news, and black sea bass, that remains to be seen. Finally, kudos to young angler AJ Max. He's started a rod loaner program. The Division of Fish and Wildlife got together to start a rod loaner program. AJ, the next generation, already working to get some of the generation after him involved in fishing. Take a look in your local library for a new rod loaner program moving forward in 2018, designed to get some more kids out fishing. We think that's great news. Cold or not, some, like young Eagles fan and up-and-coming hardcore angler herself, Alexandria Rothman, getting it done this season. Doesn't matter if it's cold, doesn't matter if it's fresh or salt. She's getting it done. So grab the hand warmers, scale down in the surf, make sure you warm up in between drops on some of those party and charter boats. Catch them up. There's fish out there. Although sitting by the fire hanging the stockings with care is good for me right now. We'll see you again next week here at thefisherman.com.